Hello everyone, this is Varsha and you are watching the series of success stories brought to you by Indian Achievers Forum. So as you all know, the series is all about the prominent achievers of our country who had made India proud in some way or the other. The main focus of our series is to make you all know about the success and achievements of our prominent guest. So today, in the same sequence, we have with us Mr. Dinesh Muslekar, who is the president of the board of Lumail. But before we actually start the conversation with him, let's quickly have a look at a very small video telling you about what we actually do.
Indian Achievers Forum is driven by a full-fledged advisory board. The board consists of experienced personalities who have excelled in their respective careers. Together, the forum organizes conferences, events, workshops, exhibitions, trade shows and B2B initiatives in India as well as abroad. Where there is passion, there is achievement. And where there is achievement, there is Indian Achievers Forum.
Hello, Mr. Dinesh, how are you?
Good, thank you, Varsha.
Okay, so sir, before we actually start the conversation, please tell us something about you and your profession.
Okay, I come from a very humble middle-class family from a town called Dharwad in northern part of the Karnataka, where I spent, I would say that my first half of my life. So I was, I went to Kannada vernacular medium school there, Karnataka High School and Karnataka College, and then I also studied in engineering college there in Dharwad, SDM Engineering College. So that was until I was 21 years. So my father used to work in telecom department, typical government employee, did one job all his life. But he strongly believed in giving good education to me and my sister. She's a chartered accountant, practices herself and really doing very good in Bangalore. So, and he believed in giving good education to both of us, and my mother used to take care of our family, a typical Indian middle-class family. And that's how my foundation was made. And after that, I moved to Mumbai for a job, and that's where I started working in various companies and industries. So I spent, I would say, about 20 years before I came to Poland. I was working in various capacities in projects and in sales, in general management and setting up of companies, etc. So that's what was my background before I moved to Poland to join Lumail as a president and CEO, because Lumail has got, it's a 70-year-old company, almost 70 years old now. And this was one of the state-owned company. It was owned by the government of Poland and had its own financial challenges. And this company was taken over by Rishabh Instruments, which is based in Nashik. And that's how the journey started. And my role was to come here and transform this company, which had a lot of financial challenges in a kind of a loss-making scenario with about 700 employees here. So to turn around and re-establish this into a progressive and very forward-looking company. And that's kind of professional background in nutshells.
Right, sir. So, sir, if I talk about your journey at Lumail, so what were the challenges that were faced by you while, transforming the loss-making business to a profitable one?
Yeah, I would say the problems were multiple. I would say there are challenges, of course. They were in different areas. One was, as being a state-owned company, The leadership of the company was more into people who were more with a political background than the business background. That could have gradually led to the state it was in. So the problems were in terms of the company and the employees being centric to themselves than to the market, not a customer oriented approach. Then financial challenges. The portfolio of the company, there were only few customers who were the company was totally dependent on. We had two unions, and we continue to have two unions, which are quite cooperative now. And then we had challenges on developing new products continuously. So there were multiple challenges, I would say, which we had to address one at a time. Of course, it all started with redefining the team and getting the team together and getting the right composition of people who worked in this company for a long period and had a lot of potential and talent to get out of that. And we also got some talent from outside. So it's a mix of a lot of activities that we did, a lot of financial discipline within the company, and overall change in the mindset of people. I mean, what we see is the result, but at the core, it's the people who have transformed. So that's how the transformation of the company has taken place. And we are really proud that we were able to achieve more than 2.5 times the turnover that was there when I came in here. And profits also have been substantially good from a loss-making situation. Apart from that, we have been able to develop future leaders in the company, a strong middle and senior management teams, a lot of customer portfolio and increasing customer portfolio, a lot of products we have developed. We expanded into different markets as well, international market as well as in the domestic. We added a few verticals. We bought over some companies as well to expand our business. So it's been a good journey. Of course, it had its own challenges all the way, and that's more or less what's been achieved in last 7 years, which I've been here.
Right. So, Mr. Dinesh, what kind of product and services does Lumaine, provide to its customers? Please tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. We have two companies. One is Lumel Alucast, which is the aluminum die casting plant. So what we make here is designed and produced for customer. This is like a OEM service. So we supply to a few industries. Automation industry is one of them, where we make aluminum high pressure die casting housings. Our main customers are ABB, Siemens, Andersen-Hauser, and likes of them, Emerson, and these are the customer groups which we have. And then we also supply to automotive industry. So we supply to tier 1 suppliers of automotive industry like Valeo and Sandon, Mahle, Webasto. These are all customers which are in the automotive industry. So we make aluminum casting products which are used for compressors or seatbelt safeties and brake systems for Haldex. These are all global giants which supply to almost all these companies together supply to almost 100% of the automotive industry. So these products indirectly, we don't sell them directly, it goes to every company, whether it is giants from Europe like Mercedes, BMW, Aston Martin, Jaguar, or it is Japanese companies like Suzuki, Toyota, etc., or even American companies. So some part of aluminum goes to almost all these cars, including Aston Martin and all these the big sport cars also. So there's a bit of aluminum element which goes into all these products. So what we do is we have our own tool shop. We design the whole tool, and then we have high pressure automated die casting cells. So we did a lot of investment in the last 7-8 years to have a great deal of automation in the plant to increase the efficiency, quality, etc. Then we got machining park. We have almost about more than 100 machines, very high-end machines. With almost all the machines are either Japanese made or German made machines that we have. So there's a whole array of we play with aluminum as a metal, and we produce these castings, and then we do machining. We do a lot of surface treatment processes also for them. So that's the aluminum die casting part of the business. The other business which we have is totally different. That's the company Lumel SA. So this is electronics manufacturing company. So where we have lots of product groups there. We have our own R&D team, and these are products which are sold with the Lumel brand. So we have a full-fledged R&D design team. Then we have a laboratory, and then we have SMT line production, the testing, assembling, and packaging. So it's right from the product idea to complete after-sales service. So we have products which are basically used in 2-3 major applications. One is energy monitoring and management of energy. Second one is process management and monitoring. Third one is for efficiency. So these 3 things you can use in multiple industries. So there are lots of products like current transformers and power quality analyzers. Then we have got digital meters. We have got shunts. We have analog panel meters. We have transducers. So lots of products are there. We roll out about half a dozen products all the time. Also, they all work on a IoT platform, Internet of Things, where we have a division in India, in Nashik, where we have our headquarters and our parent company in Nashik, and we have our own SCADA software platform. So all these products, along with the software, can be put in. And apart from this, we also have solar system. So we manufacture solar inverters right from 5 kilowatt to 100 kilowatt range. Then we give complete solutions of solar systems as a part of our green energy. And also we do EMS services, electronics manufacturing services for some of the companies that we have extra capacity for production. So we use that. So it's like 2-3 different areas of activities we have as far as electronics business is concerned. And recently, during this pandemic year, we also bought over one division of another electronics company, which makes protection relays for mid voltage transmission lines. So that product we took, and we are developing more on that product with our R&D team to get into a mid voltage segment. Also, we're in a low voltage segment, and now we will be getting into mid voltage segment. I mean, I can talk about one product which specifically comes to my mind, which we won Innovation Award last year here in Poland. So this is called as a HT22, a product which can monitor different parameters. It can be put anywhere, any space, in house or in storage or anywhere, where it will be continuously monitoring temperature, humidity, CO2 level, light level, and TVOC level. So the particles in the space. So we are talking about the space. So all these parameters are continuously monitored, and they are pushed on the IoT, on the cloud all the time. So anybody from anywhere will be able to access this all the time. So this is one example of the product which I am talking about. So we have got lots of such products and applications.
Amazing, Mr. Dinesh. So now, as you have just mentioned about this pandemic situation, so though you are living abroad, but still I would like to know from you that what are your thoughts and views on Atmanirbhar Bharat mission that is going on in India as of now, and also how is your organization working towards this campaign?
Okay. See, as I said, our headquarters is in Nashik, and we are really proud of being Indian multinational, you can say. Our founder and chairman of the group, Mr. Narendra Golia, is kind of a mentor and father figure for me. So he started Rishabh in Nashik about 30 years ago, and since then he's been developing the company as a global multinational company. I used to work for two companies, which were one was for about 10 years. I worked for a UTC Group, which is an American multinational company, and after that, I was working for Halma Group, which is a British multinational company. Big giants, both of them. So I had a lot of experience of working in cross cultures and all around the world. The reason why I joined Rishabh is this is a mid-sized company which is aspiring to be a global multinational company. And Lumel was the biggest acquisition for Rishabh, and in fact, we are 2 times bigger than Rishabh. When it was acquired, it was almost similar or even smaller than Rishabh, and in terms of profit, it was loss-making. So today we have turned it around into 2 times bigger than what Rishabh or Nashik company is, as well as a quite profitable company. So why I'm giving you this background is the reason why I joined this group was to work for an Indian company and put my efforts to make a very successful global company. Today we have got offices in about half a dozen other countries and network of distributors all over the world. So coming back to the concept of Atmanirbharta and what we can do on this, I think we first part is I would say that we should not be Indians we should not be thinking about only Atmanirbharta. We have always been self-reliant because we have lots of natural resources. We have got lots of talents. We have got lots of young and educated population. So we were kind of self-reliant for a longer period. Now, what we should be really looking at is that India can be one of the biggest global business center for manufacturing as well as services. So this is what we should be looking at. I mean, we can be really making good progress with in terms of technology. We have lots of natural resources. We have got lots of people, young people, and it's really something which we have to just get our energies together. And also, I would say that the government is doing their best to make the ease of doing business much better. And we have also made some progress in that in a global numbers, and lots of things are happening in a good direction with the current government having focus on a lot of development and business. So I think I very strongly feel that we will be one of the superpowers, at least in terms of economy in the coming years. As far as the group is concerned, we are doing our best. I mean, just to give an example, one of the product which we made in Nashik in India has gone in SpaceX, the last mission which went onto the Mars. It may be a small product, but we were there to make our contribution to put it there in the orbit in Mars. I mean, it's something which we really feel very proud of as a group. So we have acquired technologies from wherever we could. We have developed technologies. We export even from Rishabh also. Export is almost 50% of our business is export, and even from Poland also we sell about 70% outside of Poland. So we are more like a global company, and we will focus on that.
Right. So, so now, sir, moving ahead, everyone do plans for their future. So, what is your roadmap to future? If you can tell us, few of your plans that you have in the upcoming years.
Okay. So plans for the companies, we want to develop and grow this company in 3 specific areas. First one is developing people. So we want to build a strong team and people, and if we develop the people, subsequently the companies will keep on developing for a very, very long period. And if we build that culture of developing leaders who will develop the leaders, so this is really an emphasis at the group level, and we want to develop a very strong leadership. Second thing is in terms of product development. So we will continue to roll out innovative products, at least about 12 products between the two companies every year into the market. So that's on the product development side. And on the these two will result in business development. So normally, if we are focusing first on the business development without making fundamental efforts in these two, the business development will not happen. So these are two areas which we want to focus, and then the business development to take our products to the whole market. So we will add more and more area officers, and we may acquire some companies and some technologies to build and get more global. That's sort of a plan that we have, and we really want to put Rishabh Group and Lumel as a significant player in the industry that we deal in, and contribute to the society.
And I wish you all the very best for all these plans of yours, sir. So though I know, it's always a very proud moment for someone when we get recognition for our work, but still I would like to, ask you this personally also, that what are your feelings on winning this Indian Achievers Award?
Actually, I wasn't, first of all, I should admit that I'm happy with that. But I also remember that your organization contacted me last year, and they were telling me to send this application. And later, after a couple of times, when they followed up, and then I said to my marketing team that maybe we should apply, maybe. And then we got this. It was a nice, pleasant surprise also. And I'm happy that there's a recognition, but as I say that we normally don't work for awards and recognition. If they come, you feel good, but that's in my opinion temporary motivation. What really drives is that you get up every day in the morning, you come to work, you want to do something different, something new. That keeps you going for a long period. So you feel happy when one of your team members succeeds, or you come up with a new product idea. Some problem is there which is sorted out, and these are all small little things which happen every day, and that's what keeps you motivating. And of course, as a head of the company, I devise 5-year strategic plans. We have budgets, every yearly budgets, and then quarterly reviews and monthly reviews and weekly meetings, and all those things happen. But it's always the smallest element, which is like daily work, which you have this big picture or vision in your mind, and you do a lot of things on a daily basis. This is very important. And during this pandemic, not only a year, it's more than 1 year now. So important that we need to be flexible. So even if you have some plans, some target for some period, maybe it is annual budget or quarterly numbers to achieve or whatever. So you need to be flexible on a daily basis, weekly basis, because it's very, very unpredictable. So the way things are happening now everywhere around the world. So we have huge disruption of supply chain now. This, I think, is the effect of what happened in the first and second wave of pandemic. So there's a huge shortage of electronic components and aluminium, copper and steel and plastic materials. So a lot of material shortages are there, and the prices are going haywire. And it's really challenging time. So we need to be very, very flexible with what we do with our employees, with our suppliers, customers, and how to make decisions very frequently and precisely. And for that to make, if you have a strong team who can think on their feet and make decisions which are in the best interest of the company, then those companies will survive. And people who don't have stronger teams, I think they will have much bigger challenges to face the difficult times.
And I would once again like to congratulate you on the achievement, Mr. Dinesh. Okay, so now moving ahead, tell us a bit about your social contribution too, as in the CSR activities that you are involved in.
Yeah. So a company is a social one of the social fabrics of the whole ecosystem that we live in, and you get everything from the society, and part of that give it to the society. I am a person who strongly believes in social responsibility as well as work-life balance for the employees, as well as for myself. So we here in Poland, we do a few things in the local community. So we support a lot of local sports here. We are one of the sponsors for Speedway, which is one of the most popular sport here in the town. And we also have Mr. Patrick Dudek, who is one of the riders. He was number 2 at his peak, and we have been sponsoring him for a few years now, almost about 5 years. We have been sponsoring him. And then we support museums, we support other sports, we support cultural activities. We do our way of contribution to various things in terms of culture, sports, and education. We also get employees from prison to work in our company when they are serving their prison terms, so that this is way of rehabilitating these people. Then we also run Lumel School, Lumel University, Lumel course in university. These are the things to support new employees to come in. We also had Lumel Open Days in the company to make people aware of what we do to the society. So we are quite involved in many of these activities.
Wonderful, sir. Okay, so before concluding our lovely session, what message you would like to give to our younger generation to become successful in their careers?
Yeah, it's nobody has any crystal ball to say anything, but I strongly believe and practice, and I really feel that the current time actually is really very hard because of the current COVID situation. Most of the companies are suffering with the business and are either reducing the staff or not hiring anybody. So this is really challenging. I really feel the current generation particularly, that would make them more stronger and more resilient actually in life. That's my strong belief. What I suggest to younger generation is, you have to have this opportunity meeting your being prepared or your preparedness. So these two do not happen at the same time. So if you are looking at the opportunity all the time and not focusing on preparing yourself for the opportunity which may come anytime, so you lose on there. So you focus on developing anything, any skill. So don't waste your time just cursing that you don't have opportunity, it's not coming. So you focus on developing yourself in your skill sets, etc., and opportunity will come. When the opportunity comes, you should be ready. So there are two things which go hand in hand, but not at the same time. So don't lose heart. Keep preparing yourself. When the opportunity hits, it's your time. This is one. Second thing is manage the success which comes to you with humility. This is the second thing that young generation. I have seen a lot of young people. Of course, they are learning or they know a few things, but that success or that ego goes too much into their head, and then they go in a different way. So that's the second thing, to be grounded and to be humble, and being a good human is very important, because having good human values and ethics is going to differentiate you from the rest of the team as you go in companies and grow in your companies. That's very important. Third thing is keep the curiosity level very high, and hunger for knowing things and knowledge should be there. You should always know how to learn things. Like knowing to know the things is very important than just knowing the things. So if you know how to learn, then you can learn anything. So that should be the focus. Of course, being disciplined, being honest, and being punctual, these things do not cost. They are not talent. They are hygiene factors. So these are basic things which people should have, which will make you into a very I would say perfect professional, or it's going to be helpful for not only being successful in work, but also in life generally.
Very rightly said, sir. Okay, so thank you so very much for joining us today. It was pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Varsha. Same here. Thank you.
Bye. Okay.